organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, see an exclusive interview with the editor-in-chief and chairman of Forbes Media.
Let's see how the University of Iowa ranks amongst public universities across the nation.
And in sports, we have everything black and gold in Daily Iowan TV Sports Pregame.
That's all coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Good evening and welcome to your Thursday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Muriel Kone.
And the editor-in-chief and chairman of Forbes Media, Steve Forbes, spoke to the University of Iowa students and Iowa City residents on Wednesday. He addressed the struggling economy and how students should prepare. Daily Iowan TV's Ryan Jones sat down with Mr. Forbes for his advice.
Steve Forbes and John Shilfsky, the chairman and CEO of life insurance company Northwestern Mutual, led a panel for students. They talked on how the economic situation was avoidable.
That what has happened over the last 4 years since really Lehman bankruptcy in 2002 and in 2008 is something that I could have told you with 100% certainty would have happened.
The students of the university got to ask them their own questions that are important to them, such as how to turn a great idea into reality when everyone is telling you that you can't.
Sometimes not all the people on your team are going to get it, especially as circumstances change rapidly. We see it in the creation of content today in our own shop. Some got it, some did not. And so you have to be prepared. Not everyone's going to say, yeah, that's a great vision. Some aren't going to see it that way.
While Mr. Forbes talked to the Iowa City community here at the IMU, the Daily Iowan got to exclusively sit down with Mr. Forbes and ask him our own questions.
The former presidential candidate gave very specific ways that the economy could get better just by government getting out of the way.
So when free markets are allowed to operate, sensible tax code, a government that doesn't take too much resources from the economy, doesn't overburden it with the rules and regulations, and has a stable dollar currency policy, the markets will work very fine and do things that we can't even dream of.
But the duo had one piece of advice that they thought was most important to students.
This single asset upon graduation is yourself and your earning potential, so to the extent that you can put money away for another degree or for trading or for wherever it is that makes you more valuable to your employer, that's probably more valuable than putting your money in the stock market at an early age.
Ryan Jones, Daily Iowan TV.
Thank you for your report, Ryan. The Federal Reserve announced on Thursday that it would spend $40 billion a month with no end date. The money will be used to buy mortgage securities. The Fed also promised to keep interest rates at an extremely low rate until 2015. News of the Fed's spending made stocks surge. The Dow hit about 13,500 for the first time since December 2007.
And the University of Iowa is once again ranked 28th among the country's best public universities. That's according to a U.S. News and World Report released on Wednesday. The UI is also ranked 72nd in the Best National Universities category. UI President Sally Mason responded to the rankings in a press release saying, quote, "The new U.S. News rankings indicate the University of Iowa's strength and stability. I am delighted and proud that we remain among the top 30 national public universities," end quote. The UI is also tied for 28th place with Michigan State University and Virginia Tech. The rankings are based on a set of 7 broad categories, which include peer assessment, graduation retention rates, faculty resources, student selectivity, financial resources, alumni giving, and graduation rate performance.
Many UI students had to break out their umbrellas when walking to class today. Let's check in with Alyssa Bergamini to see if that rain will be staying here for the weekend. Alyssa?
Thank you, Muriel. Well, today was a bit of a letdown in Iowa City with the rainy weather and cold temperatures. But luckily, we will start off the weekend without seeing a drop of rain. Friday morning will begin with clear skies and temperatures in the higher 50s. And as we reach into the afternoon, the forecast will jump all the way into a high of 78 degrees and stay sunny. The evening will continue to stay clear but dip down into the lower 50s. And now for a look into the rest of the weekend and a quick look at next week. For Saturday's football game, the Hawkeyes will be happy to know that the high will be around 81 degrees and the sun will be shining. Sunday will be similar and stay mostly sunny. But the week will begin a little differently, as Monday brings in a 40% chance of thunderstorms, so make sure to look out for that. And Tuesday will continue to bring in some rain and a possible low of 38 degrees. That's the lowest we've seen in a while. The rain will travel over into Wednesday, but with relatively higher temperatures. Well, as you can see, we have a wide variety of temperatures coming up, so be sure to stay aware. That's all for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Alyssa. Today marks 2 months since the two young Evansdale girls went missing. Tonight, organizers have put together a vigil at Myers Lake, where officials found the bikes belonging to Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins. The girls were last seen on July 13th. FBI officials said they believe the girls were abducted. However, the search still remains in full force. A $50,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to the arrest of anyone responsible for the girls' disappearance.
And schools across Iowa, including the Iowa City School District, might soon receive more protection from a dangerous chemical. Iowa Congressman Bruce Braley today introduced the End Radon Schools Act. He met with University of Iowa men's basketball coach Fred McCaffrey and American Cancer Society members today to discuss this bill. It would protect students, teachers, and employees from high levels of radon in Iowa schools. Radon is an invisible, tasteless, odorless gas that is produced by the decay of naturally occurring uranium in soil and water. It is the second most common cause of lung cancer in the nation, behind tobacco use. Experts predict it is responsible for causing 400 lung cancer-related deaths across the state each year. All of Iowa's 99 counties are in the radon red zone, which means they have the highest chance of radon exposure. This new bill would give grants to states to work with school districts and test the levels of radon in their schools. Funding would then be given to schools to reduce radon levels if they're high.
And now Daily Iowan TV's Josh Bolander and Lauren Moss are here for Daily Iowan TV Sports Pregame.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Pregame Show.
Once again, our pregame staff has been hard at work, making sure you have everything you need to know about the Black and Gold's contest against in-state rival Northern Iowa at Kinnick Stadium this Saturday. We'll have it all for you today, including expert analysis and inside reporting.
Plus, as always, we'll be talking to special guests from around the country to get you as much perspective as possible during the Daily Iowan TV Sports 2-Minute Drill.
But before we get into all of that, we start, of course, with Daily Iowan TV sports football reporter Nick Rector, who breaks down Saturday's contest.
After coming off a very tough loss against Iowa State last weekend, this Saturday's game against the University of Northern Iowa is do or die for Iowa's season. If the Hawkeyes win, they still have a shot at having a good year. If they lose, the season might as well be over. One of the main things to look for this weekend is the Iowa quarterback position. Vandenberg will need to put up a good game, or Hawkeye Nation will most likely turn against him. Iowa's newly appointed offensive coordinator, Greg Davis, may have a big effect on how Vandenberg plays, though. But with Davis's offensive plays looking a lot like Iowa's ex-offensive coordinator, Ken O'Keefe, it makes you wonder who's really calling the shots.
I think after only 2 games, the jury's still out on Greg Davis as the offensive coordinator. I think it's funny that people are looking and seeing the offense and realizing that it's a lot closer to Ken O'Keefe's offense than maybe they were hoping for. And that's because Ken O'Keefe was doing what Kirk Ferentz wanted him to do, and Greg Davis is doing what Kirk Ferentz wants him to do.
Many Hawkeye fans thought Greg Davis would bring a good passing game to Iowa. But from the looks of it, he may have left his offensive playbook in Texas. Nick Rector, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Continuing the trend of an insider look at the Hawks, we are pleased to bring in Cedar Rapids Gazette football reporter Mark Morehouse for the first time, who has the scoop on who the Black and Gold need to shut down this weekend. Mark?
UNI's bringing in a freshman quarterback, Sawyer Cole Morgan. You know, he went to Madison. He's got 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He went to Madison and he traded punches with Wisconsin, didn't blink. I expect I think Iowa has an advantage here in that it has a veteran secondary. I expect a lot of stemming and a lot of disguised coverages, and I think I will try to get him to throw somewhere where he doesn't think a safety will be, and all of a sudden there's a safety or a linebackers.
And one of the guys who will be looking to put the pressure on the Panthers will be junior James Morris. Could you talk a little bit about his maturation as a Division I linebacker?
Here's a guy who came from Solon. Everybody knew about him when he came in. He had 6,000 yards rushing in high school. I don't know how many touchdowns. He was basically an astronaut playing football in high school. So he comes in, and I think expectations were mile high for this guy. And, you know, he got thrown in the fire right away. I mean, if he were a redshirt sophomore right now, I think he'd be right on course, and everybody would be totally happy with his play.
And finally, Mark, big game from an unknown last week, 19 tackles from Anthony Hitchens. Can we expect that to continue moving forward?
Phil Parker called Anthony Hitchens one of the more explosive players in the team in the spring. So, you know, I think we're kind of seeing that too. I mean, 19 tackles is work, and you know, for linebackers, that's what it's all about. It's about punching in and getting dirty and, you know, doing the work. And I think Hitchens is more than willing combatant there.
Thanks, Mark. And now we are pleased to welcome back friend of the show and ESPN Big Ten blogger Adam Rittenberg for a full segment of the Daily Iowan TV Sports 2-Minute Drill. And Adam, we start with James Vandenberg. There have been some grumblings in Iowa City. Any chance the senior loses his job?
I think you have to struggle for a few more weeks. I don't think it's really fair to compare those two. I mean, if you look at the personalities, I think there was a bit of an issue there with Christensen, and you know, I think Stanley clearly showed that he was the better option at the end. And maybe that'll turn out to be the case, but I think you know, Vandenberg has done some good things. He's put up some big numbers. He looked good at times last year. He's in a new system, which clearly isn't working, and I think a lot of that has to do with Greg Davis.
Obviously, Iowa has struggled to put the ball in the end zone. How does new offensive coordinator Greg Davis get things going?
Starts with the line, as it always does. I think you need to have great blocking, you know, whether it's running the ball or trying to buy time for your quarterback. But I think you also need good play calls, and I don't think I've seen that so far. You know, right now, Iowa fans are seeing why Texas fans were so upset with Greg Davis towards the end of his tenure. Some of the conservative calls, not calling plays to the yard marker to get a first down, things like that. You know, this is the frustration that mounted there, and maybe he's still feeling it out.
Having said that, what are you looking forward to seeing come Saturday?
I think I want to see some life. I mean, you know, change the tempo. You know, get an early touchdown. Get some confidence going for that unit, because it's just depressing right now. One touchdown through the first two games. Only one other FBS team has played two games and scored one touchdown. That's Idaho. So I think it's important to shake things up. It's not working right now. I think we heard a lot about the tempo and formations and the multiplicity of Iowa's offense. I want to start seeing that.
And finally, Adam, any chance we see an upset this Saturday?
I picked it. I picked Northern Iowa. I mean, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if Iowa won and won handily, but you know, they, like you mentioned, Northern Iowa nearly beat a really good Iowa team a few years ago, and they're still pretty good, and Iowa's not. Right now, they're not a good football team, so I think they definitely can lose this game. They have more talent overall, as most Big Ten teams should have against an FCS team, but you're not seeing it on the offensive side. And like I said earlier, Northern Iowa coming in there with nothing to lose, and if Iowa lets them hang around, I think they have an excellent shot at winning the game.
All right, thanks so much, Adam. And only with Daily Iowan TV Sports can you get a preview of tomorrow's cover for the Daily Iowan Special Pregame Edition. Making the cover this week is Hawkeye captain James Ferentz.
Well, that's all for us here at Pregame.
Be sure to tune in this Sunday for highlights of the Black and Gold's battle against the Panthers.
And go Hawks.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Friday's pages of the Daily Iowan. See what happened at a new University of Iowa event called Diversity Dancing with Stars.
And how local food banks are seeing a decrease in their stock from this summer's drought.
And that's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out on Sunday at the same time or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.